The thing is, no, this isn't happening. Are we live?
We are.
Good. We better hand be. Hello, lovely people. We're live. Technical things. We're back. It's exciting. We're going to have fun today, aren't we, guys?
We are.
Good. Why are we going to have fun?
Because we are talking Cobra Kai Season 2 and your first time watch ever, Morgan, after having recently seen the Karate Kid movies.
It is. There was, of course, the recent Karate Kid series over on Morgan Hasn't Seen on the It's a Wonderful podcast feed itself. Last week, we, the three of us, were talking Cobra Kai Season 1 here. So this week, we're talking Cobra Kai Season 2, and next week, it'll be Cobra Kai Season 3. It's fairly straightforward.
Pretty much.
It's fairly straightforward.
We can't talk Season 4 yet because it's not been filmed.
When it is, then, you know, crack on. Hello to Blair Lambert in the chat. I see. Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Hope you're well. It's fun. I hope you're better than I was for the first 2 seconds of the stream when I was shouting.
We are about to murder your computer.
I was. I didn't know we were live. It's very confusing. Anyway, Janine takes proceedings here.
I do. So much power. I like it.
Yeah, you should do.
I feel like John Crees. Taking over.
I don't want that.
You are nowhere near as evil.
I know.
More so, I would say.
What?
It's a horrible thing to say. I apologize.
Just as long as I'm not as evil as Terry Silver.
No, as long as you're not as evil as I hate Terry Silver, then we're all okay. Because truly, like John Creese, as we know, is a step down from the evilness of I hate Terry Silver.
Yes. So just to open it up, this was your first time watching Season 2.
Yes.
What did you think, Morgan? What were your initial thoughts?
I started Season 2 feeling very positive about the changes that were going on in the greater Los Angeles area karate scene, with the Cobra Kai changing its face, Johnny wanting to be a little bit nicer, but then Crease came back, of course. So I knew there was going to be a little bit of butting heads there, sure. Daniel opening back up, Miyagido karate. I thought, this is great. More 2 karates. This is going to be great. Yes, there's going to be a bit of a rivalry there. But then by the end of the series, or Season 2, I got sad and depressed and wanted everybody to just kind of stop.
You were basically Moon in this whole situation.
Yeah. It's like, can't we all get along?
We're all friends. Yes.
They are all... I mean, they're not, though, are they? They're not all friends. They like to say they're all friends. They're not anymore, because the two focus... They don't self-reflect, Janine.
No.
None of them.
Well, we will get into that. But first, let's talk about the new characters we were introduced to in this season.
Well, there we go. Go ahead.
So we did have Tori coming in as a new kind of female rival against Sam, a new love interest for Miguel, another lady in Cobra Kai. So how did we feel about Tori?
Well, Nolan, go ahead.
I love Peyton List anyway. I grew up watching her on Jessie and in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, where she is the love interest of the Wimpy Kid. This is by far her best performance. She just comes on like a fucking bull in a china shop and completely shatters that Disney Channel lead girl image, like in the first episode. I kind of love characters that have a bit of an edge to them, and Tori's definitely one. Everything kind of like it kind of gets into what I love about the show is that there's not really any bad guys or good guys. You can see why Sam dislikes Tori, and you can also really sympathize with Tori from her background and everything. And you also kind of end the season or you're on the final episode wanting them to fight, but the circumstances of how they come to fighting, I'm a little bit mixed on. But Tori, great character. I want to see more of her.
Yeah,
I
it's
want to see
definitely.
distinctly less of her. Get out of my face.
I think there are moments.
Morgan thinks
where
she should be in juvie.
he thinks a lot of these kids should be in juvie. I think.
Near enough everybody. From Sam, maybe Miguel.
I mean, was it hard for you to kind of choose sides in certain moments? Like we do get Sam kissing somebody else's boyfriend, which causes kind of the whole brawl, which we'll get into later. But you know, Tori's been through some stuff which you probably won't get to see until the next season. But just kind of initially being introduced to her, seeing her kind of forming a bond with Miguel, who we really like, and seeing her kind of get betrayed in that moment. Is there any bit of you that can side with Tori, or are you all kind of about Sam?
No, don't get me wrong. I think she's a good character. I didn't, to be honest, Nolan's given me insight there. I had no idea she was a Disney Channel girl who was trying to shed that kind of image. So fair play to, Peyton List for doing that. Can't say I've ever come across Peyton List before. So there you go. But no, I think Tori, Peyton List gives a good performance there. I think she's a good character. She's a great way of messing things up for everybody, which is kind of something you sometimes need when, mind you, I thought Crees was going to be enough to do that. But maybe Crees was what the adults needed to mess everything up, and the kids, the teenagers, needed a character like, not as evil as Crees, obviously, but a messer-upper in the middle of them all, just to cause a little bit of tension. And Tori's kind of perfect as doing that because she's playing both sides a little bit, but then also getting really unnecessarily aggressive.
Yeah, I think she's one of your shining examples of these teenagers not self-reflecting on things. She definitely took it a little too far. Well, not a little, like a lot too far.
A lot too far. Faraz Muthana there says Tori's misunderstood.
Faraz.
Hello, Faraz.
But Faraz, did you think she was misunderstood before seeing season 3?
See, I don't know season 3.
See, Morgan doesn't know season 3. So I'm not telling him to get into anything. I'm just wondering if now he has the context of season 3, if that's why he could say that. If he had just seen season 2 before seeing season 3, did he feel the same way? Would he have said that?
Okay. Well, I'm sure.
Because I think there are things that happen that do kind of give you a little bit of insight into her. Whereas this season, you kind of just see her being tough, being badass, being very kind of aggressive, and very no mercy mentality.
She's female Hawk.
Essentially, yeah.
And to be fair, okay. There was a little bit of a nice flashback scene with Hawk in this season of, almost before that big ridiculous school announcement that there was in season 1, that was really kind of meaningful for the character of Eli. Like I really feel for Eli, but then he becomes Hawk, and Hawk, I literally just want to kick in the face. Get out.
Yeah.
I don't like Hawk. I'm sorry.
No, I think she was misunderstood before season 3 because I remembered these are supposed to be high school. Okay.
I agree with her being misunderstood, but I always kind of root for the working class tough girl. Anyway, I kind of relate to those characters because, like, I came from a poor background and I had to like fight for scraps and shit. So I don't know. Maybe I see a bit of myself in Tori, and she was definitely in the right when they were in the roller rink.
Oh yeah. I mean, everybody kind of delves into unnecessary violence, and which we're obviously going to get into.
I don't think she should have pushed down Sam at the roller rink. That was too much.
It's just
but Sam definitely took it way too far.
Yeah, Sam shouldn't have countered like that, but she shouldn't have knocked her over at the roller rink. That was unnecessary.
I mean, when your
says it
boyfriend's
is-
dressing like James Spader from Pretty in Pink, I would punch them in the face right off the bat.
I do think the person. Who,
But I think
do
it's just because you guys still don't like Robbie's face. So of
No,
course.
that's very true. I ultimately like Robbie, and to be honest with you, even though at the end of season 2, Robbie's the one who does the most damage, violence
But I mean,
wise.
at the start of that
Ultimately,
fight, he was trying to de-escalate things.
it's very true.
God, I
Very true.
hate Robbie.
Faraz Muthanna hates Robbie. I actually feel kind of the most bad for. Well, not the most bad, but I actually feel bad for Robbie because Robbie's obviously gone through a lot.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like in some ways, maybe Tori is a season behind Robbie in terms of story.
And getting
as in-
reflection on things. And
Yeah,
Mhm.
but obviously I don't know that. And there's, like I said, there's nothing about Tori's character that I don't like, the way the character is constructed and all that sort of stuff. But Blair says it is hard to reflect on just season 2 while neglecting what we know from season 3. So clearly I'm going to know much more about her after season 3 and probably actually like her more, or at least understand her more, because it seemed a little bit like she came into this season all guns blazing,
Yeah.
screwing everything up for everybody when we were having a nice time.
Attempted murder. Yeah, I said it, Ferris.
I mean, you're not
She
wrong,
was right
Faris.
on Miguel's little mixtape thing, though. That was the most cringiest shit I have ever seen.
Oh,
Do you know
his
what? That's a
little
fair
video.
point, Nolan.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. It's a fair point. There's no
Maybe
need.
I've just become a toughened, hardened, cynical teenager, but I
But
just
a girl
relate more with
like
them.
Sam, would like something like that. I think
It's
that's
true.
for
Sam is a
specific.
little bit saccharine, Nolan. That's true.
She would have liked something like that. Most girls probably not, but I think a girl like Sam would have appreciated something like that.
Sam is a little bit butter wouldn't melt.
Yes.
Just a little bit. A little
So
bit
we also-
Hallmark Channel movie.
So we also got a very interesting character in Stingray.
Don't like Stingray. Get him out. I'm sorry. He annoys the life out of me.
I get why you'd be annoyed by him, but I mean, he's just. I know so many guys like that.
I'm
Who
worried
they get
if you
so
know
excited
many guys
about
like
the
that.
80s and they think, oh, everyone from the 80s must be like a stock character from an 80s movie. And Johnny just bashes back with like, yeah, I was banging girls back then, dude. I don't know shit about this.
Yeah, him joining this dojo, being with a bunch of kids, like he takes his girl to this party and like, I thought you were taking me to your friend's party. These aren't my friends.
The 15
town. Yeah.
Stingray.
Yeah, and then him trying to apply for a security job at the school. I just love when they try to do the whole flip the script thing like they did with Hawk, and then the music like starts to look like like
I will give Stingray
like
the
the
fact
music
that he
just dies down.
He was very, very clever in that Coyote Creek Woods challenge. I will give him that. Very,
Yeah.
very clever. Well done, Stingray, for that. Faraz Muthanna, Stingray is the epitome of child abuse.
He is, but Paul Walter Hauser is just a funny guy. So
I don't have
Yeah, I don't
anything
know.
against Paul Walter Hauser, by the way. I just find this character intensely annoying.
Yes.
he's
For the
definitely
complete
going to be
opposite
on
reason
some
as
kind of
Hawk.
list by the end of the series, I reckon.
There's no...
Well, we do see him get involved in that big brawl.
Do we? Really?
Yes.
Does he really get involved, or does
I
he just
mean,
get pushed?
No, he goes through and like beats up a bunch of kids.
Is he? I don't remember that.
You
I
don't
wasn't
remember
paying
that?
attention to Paul Walter, to Stingray.
Stingray is the guy
Anyway.
who like is wanting to be in high school again so badly because he hates his current life.
Justin is a square, has it right. Hey, at least Stingray isn't Terry Silver. No, he isn't.
That is true.
No, he isn't. That's
At least he
very
doesn't
true.
have a ponytail.
At least he doesn't have a ponytail. Doesn't have a ponytail, but he has
He has
a
that
stupid
ridiculous
beard.
braided.
He looks like knockoff Jack Sparrow.
He shaved his beard in the shape of a stingray. So
I'm not
Yeah.
doing that, by the way. It's not happening.
Come on.
If we
Come on,
get
Halloween.
1,000 retweets on this
Do you know
link
what,
for
Nolan?
Cobra Kai, Morgan will shave his beard like Stingray's.
You know what? Yeah, 1,000 likes on the video. I will do that because that ain't happening.
You heard it, guys. Go share it to your friends.
Do
Make
it.
999 accounts and like this video.
Do it because I will do that. Farah's again. Coyote Creek is one of my favorite episodes. I did like that episode. Because it was kind of like Crees trying to be a bit more dominating of everything.
Yeah. So let's move into the newest character that we got introduced to was John Crees. So how did we feel about him coming back? I know, you got that little teaser at the end of season 1. So how did you feel about, his return and how, Johnny's reaction to that? Did you think Johnny was going to embrace him? Did you expect Johnny's reaction to him and his ultimate little sneaky way of worming into taking over Cobra Kai? Like, how did that all play for you?
Right up until the very end, it went almost exactly as I thought it would. Because I thought, he's going to come back. He's going to be all like, oh, please, Johnny, help me out. I'm a changed man. I would just want to help Cobra Kai. I saw Cobra Kai and it all got very nice. Which happens, doesn't it, for the first half of the season? That's exactly what's going on. And then Crees starts becoming a little bit more evil, as we know Crees to be. And Martin Cove, to be absolutely fair to him, applause all round. He's great. Better in this than he is in any of the movies.
Definitely the third movie.
Anyway. The third movie, Nolan. I hate Terry Silver. And Martin Cove is clearly just embracing whatever the guy who played I Hate Terry Silver was called, his vibe, because that scene where he jumps out at Daniel in the Cobra Kai dojo like some sort of demonic troll person is ridiculous. But I love to hate Crees almost. Like, I don't even hate Crees. I actually have kind of a weird, not respect, but admiration for the balls on him.
Well, I mean,
determination of him.
Well, we did get a little bit of sympathetic moments with him. Like, did that play for
bit.
You well? Did you feel bad for him when he's fighting for a bed and just really down on his luck? And then Johnny that was kind of the turning point for Johnny to really kind of accept him and give him a second chance.
It did play well. Again, I think Johnny and William Zabka is absolutely the whole star of what's going on throughout the entire season. Because I don't have a bad word to say about Johnny Lawrence or William Zabka. I am entirely on their side, as it were. And even more so than Daniel. I'm on Johnny's side of how... Because Johnny he's trying to do more than Daniel's trying to do, I feel like, in terms of the karate. Because he's trying to change something that was very, very bad.
And I think Daniel just has, I think we talked a little bit about it last week. Daniel has so much kind of built up stigma about Cobra Kai that he's not really even willing to see that Johnny's trying to do something different with Cobra Kai.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He just sees Cobra Kai as bullies and they're always going to be bullies. And he needs to create something that's going to combat that.
Daniel's way more judgmental than Johnny is.
I mean, I get he has his reasons.
He does.
But he, again, with self-reflection, he needs to take that time to look into what's actually going on with Cobra Kai and the differences they're actually going to make. But that is very difficult as we get into the story of this season and how this rivalry builds up. So we get Miyagido coming back. And
it looks like such a lovely place. I want to live there.
Yes, I mean, that's Miyagi's house from the movies. So how do we feel about Miyagido coming back? That was a big story beat that definitely played into this building rivalry between the two dojos.
Nolan?
I absolutely loved returning to Miyagido. And I do like, in some sense, that they do criticize slightly some of the Orientalism of Danny when it comes to Miyagi-Do.
It's
Like
very
that
funny.
thing of him when he's complaining about the reaction to the trailer, and then they're saying, like, they're calling me Daniel the racist on here. I burst out laughing.
And if you
Hashtag
listen
Daniel
to
the racist.
if you listen to our episodes on the Karate Kid, Morgan has said throughout that whole series that the music was very appropriation level. And so for that to come up as well with the commercial, and he's like, they're saying that song is cultural appropriation. That was Mr. Miyagi's favorite song. I was like, that's what Morgan has been saying.
I love how
time.
his reasoning. I love how his excuse is that was Mr. Miyagi's favorite song, like it's like an actual song and not just
a score
clearly
to an appropriated
a score
Asian
to a thing,
vibes score,
or something that's clearly about 7 hours long, and he's just Oriental music. It was Miyagi's favorite. It's the stupidest line, and I love it.
Yeah, it's so perfect because
Miyagi's
I think
favorite song. I can imagine Miyagi just dancing to that, just in his little house.
Well, dancing with Hilary Swank, teaching Hilary Swank how to dance to that song. But yeah, it's just funny that like they are fully aware of the tropes and the jokes and the criticisms that people have made about things in the movies. So the fact that they have fun with that was pretty hilarious.
Something I did like with Johnny as well. It's kind of a similar thing. Now I'm gonna preface this by saying I am non-binary, so my thing with gender is like, it's not the traditional stuff. But that thing of them kind of being they're showing that Johnny is like this, he is the hero of this story, but still he's not quite in touch with like how people talk. So that scene where he's on the call and someone's just like, gender what? Hey, is this a prank call?
Yeah.
Another thing I just found very funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of good.
Yes.
So like he's made progress by letting girls come to Cobra Kai, but you still can't wrap his head around
somebody. Yeah. It's a lot for him. He can barely, wrap his head around using a smartphone. So,
I've recently joined the Facebook.
Yeah, send it to the internet.
Send it to use one of those hash browns.
Yes,
at the end. Yeah, I think he says as well at one point.
Bugging the pawn shop guy for like IT questions.
Connect to the Wi-Fi. What's Wi-Fi? At that point, I'm thinking like, okay, where have you been, Johnny? But then we see where he's been. He's been, lonely in his apartment for the last 25 years, hasn't he? He's not done anything.
Yeah.
So I actually also found it really funny. And I probably shouldn't have found this funny. But when Crees kind of first comes into a class and there's all the new students there, and then this one, the skinniest, weediest looking kid you've ever seen in your life, is wearing this horrendous t-shirt, this horrendously fitting t-shirt. It says "The future is female" on it. And John Crees just looks at him with the most seething look of, oh, God. And for some reason, it just made me laugh.
And also with him, I loved this scene specifically, but I did change my mind on Eli going forward after it. I think Eli needed to get his ass kicked by Crees just to kind of snap him out of his whole obnoxious thing.
Oh, Dimitri?
Oh, yeah, Dimitri. Yeah, I keep getting him and Eli mixed up.
Yeah.
Oh, Dimitri. Yeah. Look, yeah, I almost agree with that as well. I wish Crees had beat Hawk up. But Hawk, he's never going to beat Hawk up. Hawk is his new best guy.
Yeah, he sent him out there to trash Miyagi-Do.
That's criminal. Get them both in prison. Prison.
So Miyagi-Do is back up and running, and Sam has actually decided to get back into her karate training. And now her and Robbie are the first two students, and they're learning all about balance. How did you feel about Sam getting back into Miyagi-Do and her training with Robbie? in compare and getting to see Daniel as a sensei in comparison to Johnny.
I think Daniel's a fantastic yoga instructor. I think Johnny's a great karate teacher. Way more so than like, because ultimately, I mean, Cobra Kai aren't wrong, are they? What do you get into karate for? To do a bit of fighting. Yes, it's about protection, but it's protection based on fighting. I think if you want to get into Miyagido karate, you've got to almost want to do meditation and yoga more than the actual fighting, which is fair enough for some people. To be honest, that's what I would go into if I was to go into martial arts. That's the area I would go into.
You're going to be one of those grandparents in the park doing Tai Chi in the morning.
Possibly, no. Possibly. I'm not saying that won't happen next week.
So was that meant to be an insult to Daniel's skills?
No. It's just a clear distinction between the two of them. Look at Miyagido as well. It's a Zen garden. It's not a karate dojo. There's no mats. There's no things to fall on. There's one punch bag and a nice calm garden with a wooden board on the middle of a pool to practice balance.
Which
very
would be
dull.
frustrating as hell.
It would, but
Honestly.
It's successful, isn't it? It works.
Yeah, it works, and they get it down. And then ultimately, Crees, he wants revenge for this commercial. He sees the kids kind of getting mad about it. Johnny's saying, no, we're not going to do anything too crazy, but Crees not liking that. So him kind of planting the seeds to Hawk. And ultimately, they trash Miyagi-Do, which then when Daniel, confronts Johnny about it, Johnny is clueless. He doesn't know what's going on. And ultimately ends up poaching a bunch of students to come to Miyagido because they just don't like what's happening with Cobra Kai. So that's how he ends up getting more students. And of course, Dimitri getting his ass beat by Crees, that also makes him go to Miyagido.
It does, but I still struggle with Dimitri. As in,
he does
like,
grow on you a little bit.
He
I'll say
does
that
grow.
much.
Like once it gets trashed and he has to work with the other, former Cobra Kai's kids
Yeah.
and try to lift the rock and ultimately doing the chores, and he actually kind of ends up learning something. And he does get some licks in the brawl. So
He does. And he does, to be fair to him, he does learn to do sand the floor pretty well.
yes, I mean he took the final blow to Hawk in that big brawl. So
Did.
yes,
Did. I mean, them two have got their own issues, between each other. I just
I don't want that
I'm
kid to
kind
grow
of
on
with
me.
you there, Faraz. I really am. He is most really, like, in very different ways. A lot of the teenagers are incredibly annoying. Maybe that's just how people are. I don't know. I don't think I know that many teenagers.
I'd be worried if you did.
Me too, Nolan, but I have family.
Yeah, you're not.
You
like
don't want to
Stingray.
become like Stingray, do you?
No, I do not. going to 16-year-olds' house parties when the parents are out of
Taping
town.
wine bottles to your hands.
I mean,
No, they were 40 ounces.
Oh God.
just I feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
Because has he not got anything else? And clearly he just hasn't. And I know I should have sympathy. Patrick, no, we're not having that.
Morgan
Hashtag
Ray.
get out.
Hash
Stop
brown
it,
Morgan
Patrick.
Ray.
Stop
Get it trending. Get Morgan to shave his beard into a Stingray.
We've said, well,
a thousand likes.
And I'm being serious there. Because that would actually
Patrick,
be
get on your
phenomenal.
999 other accounts and like this video.
Patrick could do it. Patrick could do it.
He would.
He would. I have no doubt in my mind.
Yes. Make it happen. Make it happen.
It is also kind of funny that they poke fun at a lot of the Karate Kid stuff. So, like, when those students that are poached from Cobra Kai come over and Daniel just says, okay, I need you to go sand in the floor and, like, paint the deck. And these kids just call him out on it. Like, oh shit, you just wanted to do your chores for free?
Yeah.
Kind of what Daniel did in the first movie, though.
Yeah.
And it's kind of what Robbie also did in the last season. But then everybody learns, don't they? It's
do.
presumably what Sam did at the start. It's just like, no, Dad, I'm not doing your waxing of the cars anymore. But now look at her.
She's back
successful.
into it 100%.
Is she, though? Is she after what's happened? I wouldn't want to be. Not after the situation.
Well, yeah, but she still has these whole kind of issues with Miguel, which I think leads to the kiss. So how did you feel about all that teen drama that built up to also escalate this dojo rivalry drama?
I just want to hear Morgan's opinion on this, because I know he doesn't like YA book drama as much as
Nolan does. Nolan does. So we'll have Nolan's positivity teen drama after I say I can't stand any of it. I am with Moon. Why can't we all just get along? I'm sick. I was sick to death of teen drama in my own life when I was barely 16 and had several years left of being a teenager and having to be involved in that sort of stuff. I was absolutely over it. I could not stand going anywhere near it. So I don't tend to like watching it in shows anyway. I understand it. I still like some of the characters. I still generally like Sam, Miguel, generally Robbie, to be honest, even though the guy who plays him does look like a complete horrible, just hateable kind of guy. But I'm sure he's lovely. I actually think his name's Tanner as well, which just makes it worse. I apologize. I'm sorry.
It could be worse. His name could be Logan or Jake or Casper or any of these guys.
Just YouTubers you're naming now. No.
Yeah.
It's fair enough, though. It's fair enough.
And we do get a plot point with Robbie actually relying on Johnny because of Sam.
Yeah, which I really did like. I really did like, because I like the fact that both of them almost low-key really want to reconnect with each other.
Yes.
Like, even
Robbie's
though there's
really
the
fighting
serious
it.
difference, Robbie's really fighting it. Johnny's fighting it less than Robbie is, I feel. But Johnny's not going to, be the one to back down and be like, yes, Robbie, I want you in my life. Johnny's not going to do that.
Yeah, it's more of, I think, Johnny just kind of starting to give up, because it's like, beating your head against the wall with Robbie. So, like, he doesn't want to give up, but Robbie's not even giving him anything. So it's, I think, more of Johnny just kind of letting go of the fight and thinking it's better off that he leaves him alone, as opposed to not caring.
Sad.
Yeah.
It's
But
really
Robbie
sad.
does. It's nice to see Robbie kind of rely on him in that moment, at least, so that at least kind of opens you up to seeing maybe hopefully something can happen between them.
And I really hope it does. Because I think it's a serious... Robbie's the key to rekindling, or not rekindling, because I suppose there's nothing to rekindle, but kindling a respect between the two karate rivals.
Which that will play a huge part in season 3. So
I have every
that.
faith that it will. I can only see that being a major part of season 3.
So leading into movie callbacks that we got in this season, that whole scene did lead into the big fight between. We actually see Johnny and Daniel get physical with each other when Daniel discovers that Sam is crashing at Johnny's house, and they actually like physically get into a fight.
Well, Nolan did want to talk about young adult teen drama first.
Okay.
I mean, I know we find it silly now, but honestly, I think we've just got to look at it as we're older. And thus that stuff is going to seem kind of pointless to us. But like, really think back to when you were that age. All these little things do seem like the end of the world to you. So I can totally understand it, even if I do think it's a little silly.
Yeah, but like they really weren't together all that long to like have built up this much angsty emotion, but it's obviously there. And like, and I think all of us have been through that in our teen years.
I do get it.
Can relate to that.
I do get it. I do understand it. I did experience it myself, but rather than me looking at that sort of stuff as I have experienced that, I can understand that, I can identify with that, I have always been more like, I have experienced that, I understand that, and I don't want to do it again. So I don't want to see it, please.
Okay.
I think this
enough.
is why you hate Robbie so much. You see so much of yourself in him.
I don't hate
Morgan was
Robbie.
a Robbie back in his high school.
Hate Robbie. I actually like Robbie. I really actually do. I really don't like Hawk because I just think he's dangerous. I think he's the absolute epitome of the bullied kid turning into the bully and him taking it.
Yeah, the bullied kids tend
far.
to be the worst bullies for sure.
And it's sad. It's sad that's like that. He's a very, very tragic character in that way. But he needs to have some self-reflection, and he doesn't have any. Because he's being punched by Crees all the damn time.
Yeah.
On to the big fight thing, which we were talking about. Yeah. I'll give you a little bit of context that will probably get everybody in the chat hating me. So this season came out around the exact same weekend Avengers Endgame dropped. And guess which final fight that I liked better? This shows, honestly.
I was going to make a joke then, but it didn't work.
But the fight between Daniel and Johnny in the apartment is kind of intercut with scenes of their fight from the tournament in the
which is very nice.
So
because
that was
they're doing the
time.
same moves to each other.
Yes, and I think it's the first time we've seen them fight each other because we did get these kinds of standoff moments, but this was the first time that we're actually seeing them physically fight each other. Did you think this whole fight was warranted? Did you think there was a huge lack of reflection in the adults in this moment to not kind of hear out their sides of, why Sam was there and why, Robbie would take her there and all of that?
I mean, as a worried father, if you saw your daughter in the bed of the house of your former rival, you're not going to be thinking very clearly.
You're not, are you? You're really not. I understand why Daniel's kind of gone on, all guns blazing and caused this whole situation. Because to be fair to Johnny at the start, he's trying to go, just calm down. Let me explain, calm down. But then Daniel kind of busts through the door and then it starts from there. Johnny's not going to take that.
I do think it's a running gag where Johnny's TV just gets destroyed every season. Because, so they have to have something in there that's going to wreck his TV.
And there's a fun callback to season 1 there with the woman whose TV he was fixing, ending up on a Tinder date with him.
When he's going on all the dates. Another really great callback we get is Johnny going on a little road trip with his Cobra Kai buddies.
As far as Daniel broke Johnny's door. Property damage, like WTF, man. That's my door.
Your door.
Exactly, Faraz. I understand the adults' way of thinking about the relationships of everybody more than I understand the teenagers. But I think that's just because the adults are more mature minds, so they're able to think a little bit more.
Yes,
deeply.
I mean, they do have these petty kinds of thoughts, but they can definitely be a little bit more rational than these teenagers are, who can kind of just fly off the handle at anything.
I agree with Patrick in the comment section. Says, as a parent, Johnny needed to call Daniel the minute his daughter was asleep.
I mean, that's fair, but also, Patrick, we need to realise that Johnny can't use his phone very well and definitely doesn't have Daniel's phone number.
Yeah.
But it's a fair point.
Yes.
The one you mentioned, Janine, with the road trip with the buddies, There is a fun movie nod back to there. If you remember at the end of the first Karate Kid, that guy who's there saying,
I did.
"Get him
Morgan.
a body bag," and he ends up in a body bag.
body bag. Yes,
it's very sad though.
It is sad.
You were always you've been telling me since we covered the first Karate Kid, Alden Morgan hasn't seen, to remember the guy who says, "Put him in a body bag," and you were always saying it with like a smile on your face, as though it was going to be some sort of really funny callback. It's miserable.
I did not say it with a smile on my face. I was just telling you.
The sad thing is,
this moment.
The actor actually died in real life. I
saw that. I read that. Yeah, I read they did a little kind of in remembrance thing to him at the start of season 3 as well.
Yeah, so nice. I think this was a really great kind of callback and a really cool kind of moment to see that, they've still been friends throughout the years, and they all kind of had been beaten down and have the same kind of ideas about Cobra Kai and Crees.
Yeah, it's a lovely episode.
Yeah, so it's a really great episode that they kind of take this moment, and we do get these little flashes of them when they were younger and on their motorbikes, and they even get into a really fun bar brawl. How did you feel about all of that?
The bar brawl was great. I've wanted to do that to dickheads in bars so many times.
I mean, that guy was out of line, really, wasn't he? He was being a little bit unnecessary. So give him a swift. And, it got dealt with. They did put him in a body bag. They literally.
Yes, that was just such a weird, kind of morbid callback. But I mean, obviously the actor was okay with that,
I mean, fair play to him. Yeah. Fair play to him to
just kind of see the irony in that situation, for them to put that in there and him be like
in his own life as well.
Yeah.
But clearly he has massive respect for the Karate Kid itself, otherwise he wouldn't have done it, would he?
Yeah. And it's great they all came back, and they all felt like they had been friends for years, so they still had this really great rapport and chemistry. And it was really great to see them kind of all really have the same feelings towards Cobra Kai. So when Johnny's kind of hesitant to tell them, he did start up a dojo, and it's called Cobra Kai, and that Crees is back, and all of these things, and him, them really having a strong reaction to that. It really just shows how Cobra Kai really was deep rooted in affecting them, and how they really reflected and saw how violent it was, and how those weren't ideals that you should put into your life, your outside actual life. So yeah, it was really great to kind of see them reflect on that and really have a negative feeling towards Cobra Kai, seeing how deeply rooted they were into it in the first movie.
And I think that trip is a big reason why Johnny kind of comes back and goes, "Okay, Crease, get out."
Yeah.
There's a difference between no mercy and no honor. I love that line.
Exactly. It's a great line. That whole episode really is. Fares says it there. It's sweet and beautiful. It really, really is.
Mm-hmm.
That conversation just between Johnny and Tommy.
Yeah.
When just on the campfire, where Tommy's telling him about his former crush on Ali, but he didn't have the guts to tell her, and by the time he did, she was already with Johnny. It's just,
and that's what kind of got him to join Cobra Kai, because he wanted to have balls like Johnny, and he looked up to him, and
it's very real. It's very heartfelt, and it has legitimate kind of real life meaning as well, because of the actor's illness itself.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite episode of the whole season.
Yeah, and it could have been, since it was kind of so different than everything else, and kind of a whole just episode where it kind of goes off and does something different with one character. And that's kind of the main focus. It might not have played, but it actually had some great emotion, had great action, and it was a great callback to the movie. It's probably the best callback I think we have seen up to this point.
Yeah. It's like I said, though, Johnny is my absolute favorite in this whole series. I'm completely with him, and I feel incredibly sad for him in the last 5 minutes of the last episode.
Yeah.
Did you like the scene with him and Danny at the restaurant?
Yeah, loved it.
Yeah,
Loved
last
it.
time I went 3 rounds with LaRusso, I got a kick to the face.
Yes, and them actually joking and having a good time, and
I was I was in such a positive headspace after that.
yes,
Johnny,
them like, you don't want to write that down. She's gonna miss something. Like them both agreeing that the
Yeah.
waitress, and then when she did miss something, they're like, should have written it down.
Also, no offense to any Americans, but hard shell tacos are fucking disgusting.
I can't remember the last time I ate tacos. It was several years ago.
Johnny seriously needs to expand his culinary profile a little bit.
He needs to expand a lot. He needs
to.
Dark Ages.
He is living in 1984. Let's be fair to him. But yeah, he's in that episode he's getting on well with Miguel's mom, Carmen.
Yes, but he also does send a friend request to Allie.
He does, which maybe something that happens in season 3. We don't know there what's going to go on. I don't. At least everybody else here does. That's the fun of this, isn't it? I guess for me.
You did mention the last 5 minutes, which I think is the best movie nod that this thing did. That haunting rendition of Cruel Summer playing over the last couple of minutes of the finale. Cruel Summer was in the original Karate Kid.
Yeah.
And I have that song on my iPod.
I like Cruel Summer. I like the song Cruel Summer, like the actual.
Yeah, and I liked that version too. And we see, Allie did send him a request, so she's out there somewhere.
I like how they played that at the start of when all the kids were going back to school as well, like the same from the first movie. So
we did get some good insight with Daniel as well. He had a nice long talk with his mom because he was having problems with balance.
It's just very unlike Daniel LaRusso.
Yes, he made it very clear he thought he could balance, car dealership and family and Miyagido, but he was really neglecting a lot and causing a lot of problems with Amanda. And he has a nice talk with his mom, and we do get a lot of insight about him and his dad. And we kind of just got a little bit in the movies about what happened to his dad. And, just that whole kind of speech in the second movie where he does give, Miyagi just lost his dad. And so he sits down with Miyagi and kind of tells him about his dad and that he was there for him and that was all he could do. And, that was enough. So we do kind of get the sense that his dad died of some kind of illness or something. But that's kind of all we get about Daniel and his dad. So when Daniel's kind of reflecting of himself being a dad and trying to make balance in his life, I like that we did get some insight, from him and his mom, and her just talking about she can still feel, his head on his shoulder and, that whole day that they had together before he got sick. And I think that kind of puts things into perspective for Daniel to, prioritize better. So how did you feel about getting a little bit more insight with Daniel and him, struggling to find balance with everything? Because at this point, we see him kind of being almost kind of perfect in comparison to Johnny. So to see him kind of fall down and fail a little bit this season, how did you feel about that?
It makes me feel like it's Karate Kid Part 3 again. When he's kind of a little bit not knowing what to do and messing everything up all the time.
And
Which
thinking
nice.
thinking he knows best as
thinking
well.
Thinking he knows best.
Being really stubborn.
He doesn't, because he needs to talk to other people. I like that he eventually kind of sorts it all out. Because is it 2 episodes or even the episode before the final episode? You sat there thinking, this is all kind of great at the minute.
Yeah.
I can't wait for them all to go back to school. Oh, God. Basically. But no, I like how... Because I haven't liked Daniel as much as I've liked Johnny throughout this series, throughout Cobra Kai. But I appreciate that there's a hell of a lot of more depth to him in this particular season, I think, to season 1.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Another nod we get is at Valley Fest when, Daniel wants to bring out the big finale of the ice, but ultimately he doesn't get to do that because Cobra Kai takes over the whole demonstration. So how did you feel about that move?
which is, look, it's opportunistic. Nolan likes it.
I just
You
like Guns N' Roses. So.
Patrick, Morgan thinking everything was going well is all the proof I need that he's forgotten what it was like to be a teenager. I don't think I've forgotten, Patrick. I just think I've repressed it.
And it really wasn't that long ago, Morgan. It was like
No, it wasn't.
years.
It wasn't that long ago. I've literally just repressed it. Probably because it was that horrible for me.
Yikes.
That I like things to be rosy. Because I'd rather think like that than think everything's going to be bad all the time.
You're not going to see Morgan starting a brawl in his high school.
It's not going to happen. I didn't like people when I was in high school, certain people, but I'm not going to go up to them now and be like, am I? That'd be silly. You know, I'm gonna go and have a civil conversation with them because it's who's got the energy for the level of arguments that are in this show?
Well, Ferris brings it up, and we've been kind of peppering it in through this discussion. So let's get into it. The big brawl at the end of this season.
The better final fight than Avengers Endgame. I will die on that hill.
It's a great fight.
Yes.
It's a really well staged fight. It made me very, very sad and annoyed with everybody.
Yes. So at the big party, Sam gets drunk and ultimately shares a kiss with Miguel, which they're both like kind of awkward about. And Tori has seen this kiss. So they're all back to school. They're all in class. And then we hear Tori take over the loudspeaker and say, you know, Sam LaRusso, I'm coming for you. Calls her a bitch.
I don't understand why. I don't understand why that room isn't locked.
Yeah, she literally just like pushed the girl who was talking out of the way.
And just very, very.
Well, she's the kind of girl who's carrying brass knuckles. I reckon she could find a way. She's
carrying more than brass knuckles. She's carrying basically.
Well, yeah, that spiky bracelet that she was like, horrible. Oh yeah, I used this against some guy who attacked me type bracelet. So yeah, that ultimately brings them out in the hallway and the fight starts, and Robbie comes in to try to, you know, we see Robbie running from one side of the school after he hears the announcement. We see Miguel running from the other side of the school and them trying to like figure out what's going on.
Really what should have happened was stay out of it.
Yeah. And I do kind of like how everyone had their like counterparts in this fight.
Everyone's arc kind of pays off really well in this final fight.
Yeah, even like the little puny guys. Like
I love them too. They're my favorite part of it.
They like are.
They're so tiny.
Fucking and, like, the two Hawk running around guys. Like he's Michael Myers going after Dimitri.
Yeah,
fucking AV lad.
Hawk might grow up to be Michael Myers. I think that's what we've got to look out for. Yes. I'm worried about him.
Yeah.
He needs therapy.
And Morgan just like Moon, can't we just be friends?
And then getting smacked to the side.
Yes. Morgan was definitely Moon in this fight.
I do like the
sorry, Nolan. Go ahead.
I do like the irony of Dimitri kicking Hawk into the trophy case when Hawk at the start was like, yeah, you didn't earn the title, so you don't get to have the victory nachos. Then him getting thrown into a trophy case.
Well done.
Yes. With things he learned from Miyagi-Do. So
yeah. Sand the floor.
Yeah, maybe we'll see Dimitri get even better next season.
I don't want to see Dimitri get better. You know he's me.
But yes, we do see everyone kind of take on their counterpart, like the two bigger guys. They fight against each other. The two little guys fight against each other only to just like get picked up and dragged away and separated by security. Tori and
Sam. There's still people watching. There's still a few people just watching them two.
Yes.
Like when the rest of the fights moved on, there's still just a bunch of people just watching those two tiny kids. Like, how are they in high school?
Yes.
They look 8.
They're probably they're probably like freshmen.
I'd hope so. I'd hope they weren't seniors. I'd be concerned.
I reckon Stingray just snuck them in from the fucking elementary
God.
school.
Yeah, and then he comes out from his security job interview at the school and just starts like going down the hall, like beating the crap out of people. But then yes, we get Miguel against Robbie, Tori against Sam, and those are kind of the two biggest fights that are happening, and it just kind of goes throughout the school.
Where are all the
Ultimately,
teachers?
well, you saw a teacher. They were like, "Do something about this," and he's like, "They don't pay me enough," and he just
They
leaves.
literally came after the fight was going on for what felt like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Have
and
you ever been to school? That's not going to happen. The teacher's going to be there immediately.
Yeah, well, the teacher is seeing these skilled fighters, and they're just like, they don't pay us enough. We're not going to break this up.
Which
So
I understand, but I'd just like the teacher to go there before.
Yeah, no.
To try and quell that when it was a little bit. Again, he assaulted children. He did. He did, Faraz. He did.
We ultimately...
The teachers are going to start their own karate dojo after that, just to deal with the trauma.
They might
just to fight back against the children, just to assault more children.
Could have all been prevented.
Ultimately, we see Tori get the upper hand on Sam and claws her arm. And then I think Sam kicks her over the banister, and then
prison worthy. Like, there's no need for that. There's no need. There's a lot. To be fair,
and
there's no need to be having some sort of aggressive brawl in a school in the first place. Just have a few shouts to each other. That's all we did.
Well, this is a karate rivalry, so they're gonna use their skills.
Yeah, I guess. My skill was
ultimately
shouting.
we will see that moment between Tori and Sam really kind of affect Sam quite a bit in the next season. So
I'm not surprised.
Stay tuned for that. It's definitely going to be a big character thing for her.
I do like Sam. I feel sorry for Sam.
Yeah,
she got drunk. It was an unfortunate moment, but yeah, I mean, everybody's been drunk.
Yeah, you still kind of feel like you're on her side, and you kind of sympathize with a lot of things with her, because inherently you know that she's like wants to be a good person.
Whose boyfriend did you kiss when you were drunk, Morgan?
Several people.
That's why he's trying to block out high school, Nolan.
It is. That's the reason.
But then ultimately, the climax of the fight between Robbie and Miguel is, Miguel does have the upper hand. He has a chance to take out Robbie, but he ultimately hears Johnny's words and shows him mercy.
Applause.
And Robbie does not hear any of this and is just, assumes that, Miguel underhandedly kissed Sam and takes that anger out and ultimately kicks Miguel over the balcony.
I would like to make the point that Robbie didn't have to kick Miguel over the balcony or the mezzanine.
I mean, he didn't mean to kick him over the balcony. He just meant to kick him. But obviously,
he kicked him in the direction of a balcony. Again, we're not thinking here, are we? You could have kicked him into the lockers, into the table.
And we were like, there was
somebody else.
Nothing like that around. But like Robbie was ultimately, I feel like, trying to break up this fight. He was trying to check on Sam, make sure she was okay. And then it just kind of escalated from there, only to have him be the one who ultimately got the final blow, even when Miguel was trying to show mercy. And also there was like a little bit of the teen stuff playing into that as well, because Miguel shouts at Robbie that, she still loves me, not you. So that obviously Miguel still has some feelings for Sam over Tori. So that will probably cause some issues down the line as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tori goes and stabs Miguel as well.
God.
Yeah, well, Miguel doesn't need to get stabbed because he's got his oracle moment there.
Yes. So ultimately he hits his back on the railing and he is now in the hospital and it's not looking good for him.
I don't know what's happened. Yes, I entirely agree. Attempted murder.
It's a true Empire Strikes Back style ending.
It is. It's miserable. It is absolutely miserable on all
things were going so good, and we saw some middle ground happening with Daniel and Johnny, only to have it just all kind of fall apart. Johnny was getting along really well with Miguel's mom, and things were happening there, but now she's like, I never want to see you again. Don't talk to my son ever again. Johnny's made this strong bond with Miguel, and now to feel that responsibility that things he's taught him had led to that. And then to take that major hit of just being totally down and out, and then seeing Crees has taken over Cobra Kai, and Crees has them all blaming him, saying that it's his fault, that's what happened, because you taught Miguel to show mercy, and because he showed mercy to Robbie, that's why he got hurt, and that's why he's in this situation.
Because that's how to deal with things. If we weren't all aware, how we deal with somebody being seriously injured in a fight is we fight even harder. That's
and we just point blame on everybody. Yeah,
we fight even harder, so there isn't even a chance. So we do the damage to them instead of the other way round. That's what we damage. That's what we're after. We're not after peace and nice things. We're after damage.
And the fact that Crees uses that to
get what he wants ultimately.
Yes, it just shows just how terrible he is.
I think, look, to be fair to Hawk, he's a young kid. He is being absolutely mind-numbingly brainwashed by Crees.
Yeah.
So it is, I will give him that. I hope he gets out of it at some point. Whether he does in season 3, obviously don't know, or whether he does in future seasons after that. Or whatever happens, I really don't know, obviously. But I hope there's some sort of reflection with Hawk, because he's the absolute worst student at the minute. He's the worst Cobra Kai student for violence since Mike Black. Yeah. I hate Terry Silver's student.
Yeah.
So we know what happened to Mike Black, don't we?
Yes.
No, we don't, because where did he go? He probably went to prison.
Well, I mean, he lost, and
he did lose, but he probably went to prison. Is he coming back in the show? I don't
know.
At this point, anybody could come back.
Yes. So we will get into that. We will get into what we want to see again.
Yes.
But
we're doing that now.
Well, just to kind of close out, there was a really great moment in the hospital where Daniel and Johnny enter the elevator kind of with all the weight of what they were trying to do kind of on them, and how it's trickled down to now his daughter in the hospital and Miguel like fighting for his life. So how do you feel about that ending? How do you feel going forward, and lead into what do you want to see?
I hope, and this is again me wanting things to be nice because I'm tired of everything being miserable all the time. And that's look, that's just very much my mentality and my kind of way of thinking. Is the world itself is far too miserable for me to want to watch miserable things in my media entertainment. So I like watching nice things that make me laugh and smile and feel good, not miserable things that make me cry and feel depressed and want to,
like Witchfinder General.
Like Witchfinder General, exactly. No, it's a fictional movie. Exactly, Witchfinder General. There's nothing wrong, Nolan, with a good bit of burning.
So you're okay with burning innocent women, but a brawl in high school is just too much for you?
No, I'm not gonna. I was going to make a joke. I'm not.
Don't touch that, Morgan. He's baiting you. He's baiting you.
You are. You're baiting me.
Yeah, I love you, buddy.
It's a good movie.
After this season, Morgan, what would you like to see going forward?
I would like to see Johnny and Daniel realize what they've ultimately been doing to the children, the poor, sweet, innocent children,
like Hawk and
Tori, and everybody, because ultimately they are all kind of, easily manipulated young people, which is fine. That's how people are at that age. I'm not judging the individuals. I'm almost judging what's been told to them. So in that way, I'm kind of more condemning of the teachers themselves, or the senseis, shall we say, than, because even Daniel might be all about, oh, this is all defense and all that, but we hate them. We hate them very much. But this is all about defense and protecting yourself, but kill them. That's basically Daniel LaRusso. Johnny's just like, I don't really care. Just be a badass. Just be a badass. I don't care about those lot. Be a badass. Crees is the one with the issue.
Yes.
It's not Johnny. I've always thought that since the start, and since really the first movie.
Well, yeah,
Daniel's
Miyagi
the one
does
with
say
Cobra
that.
Kai. Not Cobra Kai don't have anything against Miyagi. Miyagi and Daniel have everything against Cobra Kai. It's a one-sided rivalry that has now all of a sudden resulted in what I can presume, because I don't know what's exactly happened to Miguel, is paralysis, or at least a neck break. Or perhaps death. I really don't know, but it's very serious. It's just unnecessary. So I hope those two come together in some whatever goddamn way. Whoever makes that happen, I don't know. But Johnny's obviously not got Cobra Kai anymore. So what's Johnny got? Johnny's going to have to come together realistically with Daniel to sort it all out. I can only see that possibly happening. As far as the kids go, I have no idea what's going to happen with Miguel, so I really don't know. I'd like to think Sam steps back again from karate. Robbie probably gets more annoyed, but also I'd want to see a recap. I'll change the banner actually at the bottom to what we want. Robbie, I want to see some sort of reconnection with Johnny.
Yeah.
Hawk, I want to see some reflection of what he's become and try and find a balance between Eli and Hawk. Dimitri needs to shut up. And again, I think Moon is the most sensible character. Maybe Aisha. But then I don't think Aisha's in.
No.
Season 3, is she?
They didn't quite know what to do with her character. I think she was maybe too much of a tweener.
Possibly.
And they really wanted to focus on kind of the strict rivalry. And
that's maybe what I don't want, because I think the rivalry, I'm kind of done with that now, because I think it's got as worse as it can possibly get. The only way this gets worse is death at this point. And at that point, I am literally just like, oh my God, this is now making me miserable. I almost don't want to watch this anymore.
Okay. Well, we'll see if somebody dies for you in season 3. But yeah,
no,
definitely.
I don't want that.
I know. But I'm just saying, we'll see if it goes there. But yeah, definitely something I want to see is Robbie and Johnny have that reconciliation. I do want to have it open to anybody kind of coming back. That we've seen in the movies. It make for some interesting stuff. Maybe a Terry Silver makes an appearance. I don't know.
Terry Silver.
I kind of want to see it. I mean,
I don't.
I think it would be bonkers. So I kind of
if Terry Silver
wanted to go
comes
there.
back, I only want him to come back so Johnny can literally spit in his face. And I'm saying that's something that disgusting because he deserves it.
I definitely want a big final fight moment. So
do you? I don't.
I do. I just want it to be,
because it's gonna get more dangerous.
Look
I'm
at
tired
him.
of
He's so worried.
danger.
He's so
I'm very
scared
worried.
I want to see.
What do you want to see, Nolan?
I just one thing. So I want to see Hawk use his mohawk to impale Crees like the Green Goblin at the end of Spider-Man. Because of the amount of gel he's putting in it, it's probably a dangerous weapon right now.
I would not say no to that. But then again, that's death. I don't wish death on Crees. Prison, sure, but death's a bit much.
Yeah.
Tori should have probably definitely gone to juvie after that.
This is what I mean. Like, she's the most violent of all the children. I'm saying children.
So
as
is that
though
what
the
you want to?
sticks.
Is that what you want to see, Morgan? Everybody go to juvie.
Yeah, you
I
want a
just think-
juvie?
No, I just think people need to just talk. But they're not going to do that, are they? Because they're petulant, petty, pet.
Yeah,
Which I hate pettiness, Janine. Hate
I'm
it.
aware. Yes. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
think that was. I think that was.
I love the series. I do love the series,
discussion.
though. I'm
Yes.
very, very immediately passionate about this series, as I hope is quite clear. Misunderstood, yes. Farah.
Bear is
fine,
still
fine,
fighting for
misunderstood,
Tori.
Okay, maybe we will agree after next week, Farah's. Perhaps.
I root for Tori as well. Relate to the working class kid who struggles. Granted, she made some bad choices, but
The thing is, Nolan, it's all very well and good doing that, but stabbing people, I think, is another level.
well, I come from Scotland where stabbings are a term of
That's
endearment.
a fair point. That is a fair point. It's a very fair point. What else do we have going on in the?
Patrick, I always say the same thing. I want to see more of what I don't expect. Exactly.
Well, it's a very interesting thing to think there, Patrick. Because yeah, sure, that would be nice. Because I don't know what I expect. I know what I want, but I'm not the kind of person who goes, "Oh well, this show has failed because it has not delivered
It didn't
what
give
I want."
me what I want. Oh.
Because look, ultimately, the end of this series, the end of this season that we have just watched, season 2 of Cobra Kai, I am very unsatisfied with from a personal point, but it's a phenomenal piece of television. It's an outstanding piece of television, and it's still a fantastic return of the Karate Kid franchise and furthering of the story. It's absolutely perfect. But it makes me miserable.
Yeah. So
But that's what the end of this season is supposed to do.
Yeah, it's supposed to kind of see, it gives you a little bit of a silver lining, things possibly, coming together, only to kind of just rip it all out of your hands, and have you kind of wondering what's next, which I think is perfect. So
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Really excited for you to see season 3 and your thoughts on it. I think that's where we're gonna close out our discussion.
I think so. Let me show up our social medias.
Thank God you changed my name because I forgot to.
I did, yes. We have the social medias on now. That is where we can find everybody. I'm just going to go and see through the chat, see if there's anything we missed. Farah's, there is an episode in season 3 that is going to make Morgan look at Hawk and say, "Whoa, is that a good way or a bad way?"
He's going to get a bigger mohawk, and you're just going to be like, "Whoa!"
And you're going to hear more Hawk sound.
You're going to be like Keanu Reeves and Bill and Ted. Whoa!
Every time he comes on screen, there's that weird caw noise. There is.
So I'm saying, Julie's coming. Julie's coming. Julie-san. We're getting Julie-san.
And Jaden Smith's right behind her.
That's what I want to happen, Janine. I want Hilary Swank to come in. And get Hawk, Eli, on her arm like this. And he's just sat there. He just sat on her arm, and Hilary Swank's just holding him up with one arm. And then she goes like that. And Hawk turns into a hawk. And it's all of a sudden a Hawkman show.
Oh my gosh, no.
That's what I want.
They did just start filming Black Adam, so that's very possible.
There you go. Patrick, my brain often sees 2 futures, what I expect Hollywood to give me and what I'd write. And I hope for a third option, something I don't expect. Patrick
that is
a
very
good
wise. Philosophy.
Yes, definitely.
He's very wisdomous, which is my preferred way of pronouncing the word wise.
So fancy.
Even though it's not correct. There you go.
Yes. So thank you guys for another awesome discussion. I am excited to talk season 3 with you next week and get your thoughts, Morgan. I'm sure you're excited to watch and get
I
out
am.
of this depressing funk that
I wanted to
left
watch
you with.
immediately after.
Well, now you can go. You are free. You are free like the Winter Soldier.
Oh, that's so nice. I'm gonna do my best best Winter Soldier becoming free impression, which is him going like this.
I think it's a little more intense.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not the acting quality of Sebastian Stan. I do apologize if I was.
I think it's fair
would
to
be in the
say
Avengers.
this ending made you as miserable as the ending of the latest episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier
Pretty
made
much.
you feel.
Whew, yeah.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Unfortunately, we're not talking about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier today, but maybe after the final episode, that's not a bad idea.
Yes, we can do a little fun little breakdown chat of the series if you guys want. If you're
I
down
mean, Baron
for that.
Zemo has to come back onto this show, doesn't he?
Yes,
He certainly does with these weird sock
people
helmet
wanted
or whatever he
people
had.
call for the Zemo cut, so you're gonna have to do a little dancing too, Nolan.
That's what I want to see. I want to see some Zemo dancing from now.
Yes.
Faraz Muthan, a shout out to Ao as well, or Io.
Io. Yeah.
Io.
Yeah, Io. She's not the character that fucking the girl from The Walking Dead played. I forget her name.
It isn't.
Yeah, Okoye. Yeah,
Okoye,
everyone-
yeah. She's not Okoye.
No.
Christ, people on the internet are stupid.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. We're not those people. We are. Sometimes.
No,
we
we're
are very stupid
geniuses.
sometimes. I am. Well, maybe you.
We are wisdomous geniuses.
That's just Patrick. The rest of us are morons.
No, speak for yourself.
I will speak for myself. I will speak only for myself.
I will agree. I am a total moron.
There you go. There you go. What do we have coming up tomorrow? We have our Mortal Kombat watch along, Janine.
Yes.
1995's Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
At noon Pacific.
Yes.
Which is 3 p.m. Eastern time and 8 p.m. if you're in Britain. Which
I'm sure
obviously
most
am,
people
as is
will
known.
be at work, but I don't care. I don't care. I will enjoy myself thoroughly making you watch this movie for the first time.
Janine's like Daniel Bryan. She's just like, yes. Yes.
I have no concept of Mortal Kombat, game or movie. I literally don't know what's going to happen. I am told I'm not going to like it. So I'm sure we're going to have fun.
If you
there.
just let yourself sink into the ridiculousness of this movie.
I will. I can do that.
Yes.
I like.
This was, I think, the feature film
silly
debut
movie. I don't know what I was going to say.
Of Paul W.S. Anderson, who did all the Resident Evil movies. So, yeah.
No, I have no concept of Mortal Kombat. I really don't. But that watch along is tomorrow, live here on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel. If you did like this discussion that we had today, leave those likes. Get to 1,000. I will do the Stingray beard. I promise you, I will. If we get to that, because we ain't getting to that. So I don't even have to worry.
You underestimate
have to worry?
the power of my 1,000 YouTube accounts.
Well,
yes,
do it. Go for it.
Agreed, Patrick. Agreed.
I know.
Mortal Kombat is laughable, but I love it, and the music is that music.
Well, subscribe to this channel if you are new, of course. Do leave those likes. Do share the stuff we are doing here around. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I do my own weird little videos. We do our things together like this. Janine has a nice movie review series, of which there is a new one on Tuesday coming out. You're talking Hot Fuzz on Tuesday, Janine. That's what you're talking. So there's a new one of those out on Tuesday as well. The It's a Wonderful podcast feed, which is where we mainly live, is available everywhere podcasts are found. The links can be found all around this channel as well. That is Anchor, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Castbox, everywhere else you can find that sort of stuff. Machine Mondays every Monday with Janine talking all the schmo down things. Morgan hasn't seen every Wednesday with me and Janine, where we talk movies I haven't seen, which included the Karate Kid movies, which has turned into this now and has just taken over. It has taken over, but we're doing time loop movies at the minute.
I'm
because
so glad you've become a fan of the Karate Kid series. I knew
it's
you would.
great. It's great. I knew I would as well. It was one of those things that I just never got round to. And everybody always told me to watch it, so I just didn't, because that's what I'm like. We're doing time loop movies, though, at the minute, aren't we? We also, of course, have It's a Wonderful Podcast, the main show, every Friday, where we're all on at any given week. You know, I'm always there. Nolan sometimes on, Janine sometimes on. It switches up every week. Nolan, we're talking another martial arts movie this week, aren't we?
Yeah. I mean, if you thought this brawl at the end of Cobra Kai season 2 was good, I've been wanting to get into Bruce Lee for a long, long time, and since I'm very excited about Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings coming out, which directly takes influence from Bruce Lee movies, me and Morgan will be talking Fists of Fury on the next It's a Wonderful Podcast.
Okay.
I don't know why his fists are furious. I don't know what the Fists of Fury are. But seeing as my only experience with Bruce Lee is that terrible portrayal of him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I would like to change that.
Yeah. Fist of Fury is a good movie. We will have a lot of fun talking about that. He was almost inhuman in his abilities. You are quite right there, Patrick. We will have a lot of fun talking that on Friday. That's where you can find all the shows on Twitter, the show, the podcast, the YouTube, the everything this channel stands for. At It's a Wonderful One on Twitter. All our social medias are there. Nolan, do you have any other special things you would like to plug or talk about?
I was just on the Just Gaming Central channel doing a little debate about video games. Also currently working on recording my lines for my friend Gwen Stone's The People vs. Snyder Part 2, another great video essay series where I will be voicing Alan Moore, of all people.
Brilliant. You look like Alan Moore with that hair.
You know what I've been doing for the research? I looked at Alan Moore's appearance on The Simpsons, which is the most hilarious thing ever.
What?
Oh, it's great. I'll send you a link after this. But other than that, I'm just working on book stuff, going out hiking. And recently, Morgan, I know you were a fan of this, and Janine, I don't know if you are a fan, but I'd be surprised if you weren't. I just watched WrestleMania today, the latest WrestleMania, and WWE, it's cool again. Guys, it's really cool again.
Wow, okay. No, it's been a minute. I've been out of wrestling for a while.
So have I. Very many years.
Edge is back. Fucking Rey Mysterio's back. Rey Mysterio's kid is a wrestler now.
These people must be about 65 years old at this point.
And The Undertaker is going to come out for his third retirement, probably.
Oh my gosh.
He literally must be about 65 years old.
I think he's older than that.
Fair enough.
And MVP is a manager now. That makes me feel old.
I don't remember who that is.
Montel Vontavious Porter, a.k.a. the most underrated WWE superstar in SmackDown.
I'll take your word for it, Nolan. I will take your word for it. I don't remember him. It's been very many years since I've watched him.
You were probably like 14 when you last watched WWE, let's be honest.
Younger. Definitely younger.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Well, there we go. I think there's probably only one thing left to do, unless Janine has any special things of her own she would like to plug that hasn't been said already.
Just if you want to get any merch for any of our shows or check out any of my artwork, you can find all of that at my TeePublic shop at G9 Design. And yeah, all of the things you said, our Patreon, It's a Wonderful One on patreon.com. Some fun tiers, so support us if you wish. Yeah, other than that, 3, 2, 1.
Bye.